What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to the Breezy Beat MC show. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that next time I do a video, it just pops up and you can quickly watch it and move on with something else, right? So today I wanted to touch on my own personal experiences with regards to music. I guess I'm gonna refer to this video as phases or different levels. So I'm no huge rock star by any stretch of the imagination, but I do remember music being the thing that I've done since I was a child. And it all started when I was around 10 years old. I had a phase where, my first band was me and my sisters doing stuff like It's a Small World and Mr. Postman. They were like singing backgrounds and I was playing guitar and singing lead vocal. So that was phase one. Excuse me. Phase two was, I had moved to Puerto Rico and was learning about salsa music, merengue music. I was taking bass lessons from a pretty well-known bass player that was playing bass with Malvin Santiago, rest in peace, which is a salsa legend. I had learned a lot about merengue music, bomba and plena, which are the Puerto Rican folkloric styles of music. Also, our stringed instrument folkloric stuff, aguinaldos, things of that nature. A lot of stuff, believe it or not, that people consider Christmas music or holiday music, which is actually just flat out folkloric music within my family. That was another phase. Then I went back to Chicago and lived there for a while, and I was really into the mix shows, as I've always really appreciated what was on the radio, stuff like Kraftwerk, Gap Band, Billy Joel, pop music in general, a lot of urban stuff, Curtis Blow, funk, the song Funky Town, all these little things that I remember as a kid. Anything that, you could just imagine the city, being from the city. In my background, we were listening to dance music, whether in Spanish or English. So that next phase would have been the house music or the mix show phase, where I was just figuring out if I really. That's when I decided that I wanted to become a rapper. So that was the next phase, becoming a rapper, finding a name that would fit that rap personality. That's the Breezy Beat MC thing came about that at that point. And then, I just pursued the rap thing for a while, from like 1983 to 1989. And then in 89, I had my first record, Shake the Joint. Then I had No Money, No Girlfriend, Party Time. Actually, it was Shake the Joint, B-side, which was Catch My Drift. And then the next release was a song called Party Time. And then we had No Money, No Girlfriend with the B-side of Puerto Rican House Rocker. I did a song with Dynamics 2, which is Give the DJ a Break. Remix for that year, I think it was 91 or 92. Then I did No Good Unless They Love You. It was me and my DJ, and then a new phase of my career started where it went from being more a purist hip-hop Miami bass thing to more of like just an add-on of house music, because house music was the thing, or hip house was the style, and I was excited about that because I felt like I knew a thing or two about that, being from Chicago, and that I wanted to blend that, especially with the Miami bass and hip hop thing, and kind of create my own sound from that, and the Latin influences as well. So that was another phase. So what I'm trying to say is that musical careers, or at least mine, kind of worked in phases and levels. So if you're just kind of getting into music, kind of maybe expect that 5 or 10 or 15 years from now, that your career, at least in my opinion, the way I did it, I felt that it was more enjoyable because I was embracing the different phases and the different levels. So for example, every time a project ended, I would jump onto another project, so on and so forth. And every project had its own creative element to where you felt like pretty excited and happy about it. And then you move on to the next project. You start working with different artists. You start doing different things like that, and you start to develop like a bio or a resume in music. And that's what happened for me. So I guess back to when I had gone to the next phase of like where I was adding house and kind of mixing dance music, this was at around 1990, that I was once again happy to mix house, bass, hip hop, and all that stuff together, because I was from Chicago and we grew up. You know, our form of hip hop was what the mix shows were playing, was really like a lot of heavy, urban, you know, 4 to the floor stuff. And then we had DJs like Bad Boy Bill that would scratch, and so he was kind of like would mix up the hip hop flavor. So because we did have this hip hop vibe as well on top of it, because we were turned on to what New York was bringing to the table, which was the hip hop elements, you know, breakdancing, graffiti, rap, DJing, all those things that at that time were things that actually brought people together, and I was impressed by that. So that's why I felt that it was a good thing to pursue. I felt that hip hop was something that brought people together, and that instead of fighting would kind of create an element where they can compete in a creative way. So that's what really turned me on about that whole thing. But as you can see, when I go back to what I'm saying with levels or phases, you know, there's different phases in someone's career, and the only thing I can use to describe or give you as an example is my own career. I mean, or my own experience with it, and just to just keep reminding you and driving it home that a career is made of different levels, of different phases, and if you embrace it and that you enjoy each phase or each level for what it is, and then once it's complete, you move on to the next level, you can look back and your bio will speak for itself. Whether you made, you know, money or not doesn't matter, because it's really just, if you're doing it for the art and you're doing it because God had given you this gift, and you know, to share with the world, and that's really all that should matter in this case. This is not really a music business video by any stretch of the imagination. It's more about the art and the different levels that artists go through, and I'm using my own experience to sort of illustrate what that looks like. So after the house mix a thing with bass and all that stuff, I you know, there's also different levels, by the way, within the way you know, even in the business, like when you're doing shows. Let's say, for example, like when my records were out, like on the radio, and I was doing shows, I was also working different jobs in order to to create capital, to maybe invest in myself and not really solely depend on working at a record label or any of these things that maybe a lot of other artists were doing, or continue doing records for money in the same genre. Because that's one of the things I noticed, that at that level, at that phase in my career, a lot of artists were, and I believe it's a smart thing to do if you're just thinking about it financially. If it's paying you, keep doing it. I just didn't look at it that way. I didn't want to keep repeating the same genre or keep recording music within the same genre because it was going to pay me. I was looking more towards, like, I wanted to, I had ideas where I wanted to advance in playing guitar or bass or these other instruments, because I was, I guess my next, the reason that I did music wasn't because of the money, even though I could use the money and we could all use the money, because I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I'm blessed. And to me, being rich is having health and having family and having God in your life. That to me as well. And up until now, or whenever God takes me from this planet, that's how I'm going to think. So I really looked at all these endeavors as just like things that were going to enrich my life from an artistic perspective. And so what I was getting at is that in some of the business interactions, there's going to be different phases too, where you may just be making money off creating music and getting paid for that, or doing shows and getting paid for that, or you may switch careers altogether. So that you can maybe, start from scratch and create, because that happened to me. I actually went and started, I took on a job and let go of the opportunities where I could make money doing music in a genre that I was familiar with and actually had a fan base in, and I actually had people that were willing to pay me money to do records. I wanted to do this other thing, so I actually took on a job that was a little harder, paid a little less, but my focus, could be applied to a different genre of music that I felt was going to take my artistry to another level. So, the point to this whole video is that, because I'm sounding long-winded and all that good stuff, is that all these levels kind of create one career, and you can look back on. And if you're new at this game and you start to look at what your future might look like, is it the projects that you're working on now are not going to be the projects that obviously you're going to be working on 10 years from now. You're going to have different and if you are consistent with it, you're going to be able to look back 10 years from now and see this body of work. And at the end of the day, as an artist, a true artist that isn't worried about money, because we all worry about money and bills, when you're looking at it from like you're just really wanting to pursue your purpose, and that, creativity is what you love doing, you can actually, after a certain amount of time, look back and see the body of work and be grateful for it. And that serves, and that becomes your legacy. So all these different levels and phases, and sorry for the long-windedness of this, and I'll try to edit this so it's not so long, but all the different levels that I've described are the phases in my own personal career that I've illustrated. At some point, create some form of legacy that you leave behind, and you get to pick and choose what that is as the projects go along, because it's really just a matter of what you're picking and choosing. I just, particularly in my own experience, wanted to pick my own projects, even if they weren't paying me or there was an opportunity to make money in other styles of music. If I was dead set on that, I needed to do these 3 things because this is what's going to make me feel better about growth in a certain area of my musical experience, and that's what I would do. I would chart a path in that direction, regardless of what it paid. And you know what? I don't know if this video is going to help anyone out there, but feel free to leave a comment or check out my 24/7 online radio station that showcases a lot of the music from my body of work dating back 35 plus years at shakethejoint.com. All right. God bless and have a great one.